because he believed that if anybody would have standing, it would be him. And evidently, the military courts essentially ruled that nobody can possibly have standing against their commander-in-chief or challenging their commander-in-chief with this current initial motion ruling.
You know, and but if nobody can have standing, then it doesn't follow that he gets standing to have to be punished, because that would seem to me, even if the military justice system is different than the court of federal law or state law and so forth, civilian courts. That just flies in the face of everything, it would seem to me, in terms of ensuring even the modicum of military justice. I mean, in his oath, he's advised, and I guess in review of his Army manual, he ended up feeling like in this situation he actually has to bring it to the attention of his chain of command. And so he was in a no-win situation because he's required to do so. And yet they chose to single him out.
You're completely right. No, he tried for over a year and a half, before he was ever ordered to deploy, again, to follow the normal chain of commands to try to get some answers with regard to, the commander-in-chief or the reported commander-in-chief's eligibility to be commander-in-chief. And he went through all the normal channels, and he, let me just say up front that he has no issue with the Army. He loves the Army. He's made the Army his life. He's been in the Army for 18 years representing his country. But the Army is not prepared to handle it, and so they did not handle it, nor, as it went up the chain of command, do I think they wanted to handle it. And so it's unfortunate that the Army and the military is put in that situation. But again, they're put in that situation because Obama refuses to provide the necessary standard of proof initially. And so I don't know. It's unfortunate that, and yet, the military, if you're their commander-in-chief, and you're sending people overseas and you deploy them, and in fact your orders to deploy say you must bring your birth certificate, and you must bring your birth certificate to gain access to the Pentagon, but evidently you don't have to have that to order people to deploy or to send many to harm's way. It is discouraging.
And from your discussions with Terry, if you can share with us, I mean, has it been absolute shunning him for asking this question? Because everybody's implicated. This is a serious question. And even at the basic piece, and I think I mentioned this to you earlier, nobody can get into the Pentagon or wherever with an electronic copy of their, of a certification of live birth. How would it be if Lieutenant Colonel Lakin, on his way to deployment, just took his computer and opened up his computer screen and showed it to the Pentagon and said, "Here, this is a certified copy of, certification of live birth"? Could he get into the Pentagon with that? So it would seem just, with the military and its, and its emphasis on exactness and detail and, et cetera, structure and so forth, that even that would raise eyebrows. But is the intimidation that great, or is it just absolute head in the sand, or is it orders?
It's interesting to see all this. At first I thought that what I've been seeing is that many of the commands seem like they are very, while they put on a tough showing, they're fearful of retribution, almost like a crystal type of fear. I mean, they've seen what can happen. And so I think the ones in active duty are. And then once they retire, I know of 5 retired generals so far that have really taken a stand on Lieutenant Colonel Terry's behalf and feel strongly that he's representing his country well, but those in active duty are scared. And Terry doesn't want to, at the same time, he doesn't want to this to be disruptive to the Army. That's not his intent, but his intent is to get some answers for everybody. And that's all he wants is the truth. It's the truth, if it's either way. And he is packed up and ready to go. I mean, he'll go back to Afghanistan. He's reassured people that, if Obama was to provide proof, with the Army willing, he'd head back overseas again. And people need to realize that this is a tremendous act, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, a tremendous act of courage. I mean, he's put his career and his family's welfare and his career on the line, and he's received threats. At the same time, it's not like he's an Army flight surgeon. I mean, he's not on the front lines where bullets are flying. He's in Afghanistan. He's back at the aircraft base, making sure pilots are in top form, that their crews are able to handle the duties they need to handle. I mean, he's taking on more risk, in my opinion, in many respects, now than he would have been just towing the line and going overseas once again. But he's been like that all his life. He's been very principled. What's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong, and he's always had this. Always felt that the truth is going to come out eventually and prevail. And I hate to, I hope he's correct.
Me too. And so you raised McChrystal, as an example, and it would seem, there are lots of ways for the military, the Army, to have handled this, and one of which was to just say, would you go away, please? You don't have to throw him in Leavenworth, and you don't have to trump up charges, basically. And I wanted to ask you, we had spoken a little bit about the Judge Lynn's decision to throw out everything and to look at, to say that the birth certificate would be embarrassing. And since you have practiced law, I know, you may not know the military code of justice and all that, but what do you think of that decision as an attorney? Is that reversible error? What is that? Or is that part of breaking the chain of command?
Oh, I completely agree. I think that is a reversible error. I think when you, just put convenience, maybe, what was another word that she used? It could be embarrassing, I think. One of those things when you're worried about embarrassing somebody as opposed to, putting them, taking them away from their family and putting them in prison at hard labor for many years. I mean, I would have to think you'd have, this was a job requirement that Obama had. I mean, an absolute job requirement is to be a natural-born citizen. So this is something that you would normally turn in, to get the job. I mean, he knew before he applied for the job that this would be a requirement, and yet it slipped through probably by design. So, but if I was a judge, and when I was a prosecuting attorney, I wanted to make sure that somebody was, I wanted to know in my heart of hearts that I was doing the right thing, that somebody was truly guilty, that we bent over backwards to make sure that there wasn't error, that we didn't put an innocent person away, that the evidence was actually sound, that the truth actually prevailed, and those are the kind of things that I think were essentially swept under the rug to avoid, a potential embarrassment either to the Army or to the President or who knows who. But it was discouraging. The motion hearing was discouraging.
Totally, and again, this it kind of parallels, which just indicates to me the depth of this of this deception, frankly, just indicates to me, how serious it is. It's Occam's razor. What is the chance that Obama is hiding documents that are benign? Well, $2.5 million later and the whole government behind you, what do you think? There's either no document or it basically just proves him not, at least from that angle. But I am curious. I am curious whether even within the, and I apologize because you're civilian, not military, but I'm curious if those errors could be remedied or overturned. I mean, I don't know if it felt to me deliberate, but on the other hand, they are in control, and can her decisions be reviewed?